What's going on, boys and girls? I hope you all had a fantastic weekend, and if you're an Arsenal fan, you'll be feeling pretty chuffed with yourself this Monday morning after Arsenal managed to secure a 2-1 victory against Chelsea. How do I say this? At the end of the day, at this point in the season, the result is all that matters. 3 points is all that matters. And so I did just want to caveat that there are going to be parts of this video where I probably sound a little bit negative, and I just want to make everyone understand that the result is all that matters. Man City did their job. They applied the pressure on us, and it was about us replying to that pressure and collecting the 3 points and maintaining that gap that we've got at the moment. So, well done to the boys for getting the job done and getting the victory. I said that Chelsea were going to be harder than Tottenham. They are a better team than Tottenham. And I think throughout the 4 games that we've played them this season, none of those 4 games have been straightforward for us. I don't think we've particularly played that great in any of those 4 matches against Chelsea, which is why I think the deficits haven't been that significant. I do think we are considerably a better team than them right now, but I just don't think we've played to our level in any of the games that we've played against them. But we've managed to get the job done. And ultimately, that is all that matters. Everyone was watching us, just like they were last weekend against Tottenham, watching to see how we would handle the pressure, how we would deal with City winning and applying the pressure onto us. And I think after that Wolves result, for Arsenal to get full maximum points from back-to-back games against Tottenham and Chelsea, 2 sides that out of probably any other team in the Premier League, bar Man City, will raise their level to beat us, given the context of what those fixtures mean. I think that's a really incredible effort from the boys. The starting 11 was exactly as I said it was going to be. The only negative was the fact that Odegaard wasn't in the team at all. It sounds like there's been a bit of a flare-up with his knee. It sounds more precautionary than anything else, but you never know with Arteta and Arsenal. And look, I think it's been really disappointing, the Odegaard situation this season. He's had horrid luck with injuries from the very first game of the season, and he's been such a bit part player for us, and that's such a shame because, you know, when he's playing at his best, he's such a good player, and I think he makes this team tick. And so to have not really had him at all this season has been disappointing, and I just hope that he comes back as soon as possible, because we're going to need all hands on deck for the end of this season, particularly with us being in all 4 competitions. So I just hope that he comes back quickly, and I hope that we don't really have any issues between now and the end of the season in terms of major injuries to major players. Look, I said in my match preview video that I wanted Arsenal to kind of build on the performance from Tottenham. I said that this would probably give us a good idea of whether that performance against Tottenham was because we raised our level or because Tottenham are just really shit. I think this performance has probably indicated that it was more down to the fact that Tottenham are as bad as they are, as opposed to us kind of flipping the switch a little in terms of the way we are approaching games. I wanted us to really start on the front foot and really apply some attacking pressure to Chelsea from the get-go, and I don't think we really did that. I thought the first half was pretty timid, all in all. Saliba gets the opening goal in the 20th minute, 21st minute, set piece, Saka corner, in-swinger, Gabriel at the back post knocks it back into the area of danger, and Saliba gets his head on it, and we go 1-0 up. And you're thinking, all right, build from this, let's go for that second. Let's really kind of create a lead before half-time. And the first half just kind of patted out from there, and then obviously Chelsea get the equaliser right before half-time. And it's another one of those situations where you're kind of looking at a half of football thinking, how are we in this position? Not because we had dominated the game, but like Chelsea hadn't really done anything either. In fact, I don't think they had a shot on target in that first half. So to be going in at 1-1 with no shots on target, you're kind of scratching your head going, huh? In terms of that goal from Chelsea, the corner prior, I think we got quite lucky, if I'm being really honest. There was 2 parts of what Declan Rice did in that first corner, whereby you're thinking, okay, that could have been a penalty. First and foremost, he's got both hands wrapped around Hato, which is a big no-no. And then the second part of it was he kind of unnaturally raised his left elbow. The ball hit his elbow, and you're thinking, well, you could either give a handball or you could give a penalty for holding. Luckily for us, the ref did neither. But then from the resulting corner from that, another dangerous whip ball in from James. Nkapia gets ahead to it and it goes into the back post. And it's actually pretty much a mirror goal to the one Chelsea scored against us with Chalobah, I think is the one who got the flick on at the front post. And I'm trying to remember if that was the league game or if that was the first leg of the League Cup. But it was pretty much a mirror. And Chelsea are quite dangerous from corners, and they were dangerous the whole way through the game with their corners. I think they had 10 corners to our 5, which probably demonstrates the possession and the threat that they pose throughout this game. And James has an unbelievable delivery on him. And so they were causing us all sorts of havoc at corners. And to be fair, I haven't been that nervous watching Arsenal defend corners at all this season. So fair play to Chelsea for applying the pressure in that regard. So you go in at 1-1, so you go in at halftime 1-1, and you're thinking, right, let's have a bit of a response in this second half. And to be fair to Arsenal, they've been actually quite good in those first 20-25 minutes of a second half this season. Arteta's obviously kind of said some inspiring stuff at halftime, and it's usually got a bit of a tune out of the team. But again, I thought the second half again was much of the same as the first half. I don't think we tried to play on the front foot. I don't think we tried to take the game to Chelsea. I think we went back to that kind of classic trying to control the tempo, trying to keep the ball, patient build up. And I just don't think we were threatening Chelsea too much. Outside of that Eze opportunity, I can't really think of another chance in that second half where you're thinking that's a goal scoring opportunity. Timber obviously gets the second goal. Another corner. This was corner FC. This was the corner derby today. 3 goals from corners. We go 2-1 up. And again, you're thinking to yourself, right, what are we going to do here? Are we going to kick on? Are we going to try and get the third goal? Are we going to continue to play? Or are we going to kind of sit back? And what really worried me about this performance was the fact that within 4 or 5 minutes of us going 2-1 up, Chelsea get a player sent off. So Neto goes off for a second yellow card, foul on Martinelli. And you think to yourself, right, we've just gone 2-1 up. They've just had a player sent off. We've now got 20 minutes left of the game. At the very least, we should be able to see this out quite comfortably. And from that moment on, I thought Chelsea were the better team. Like, if I'm being brutally honest about it, I think Chelsea looked the better team. And that's just not acceptable. I just think at home, against 10 men, we shouldn't look like we're the ones on the ropes. Chelsea looked more dangerous. They were creating more dangerous opportunities. We were making wrong decisions. And we just couldn't take control of that game. And that is concerning to me. I think we've had too many games like that in the last 7 or 8 games, which is why we're in the position we're in. And I'm just concerned that Arsenal don't seem to be finding a way to take control of these games and make these games less stressful. And look, maybe I'm being totally unrealistic at this point in the season. Maybe that's not the way it's going to be. And maybe I'm naive to think that Arsenal can just dominate every game and create a 2-goal cushion and just kind of walk through a match. You know, maybe I'm just being unrealistic. But I think in that moment, 2-1 up with a 1-player advantage, we should at least see that game out comfortably and be the ones peppering Chelsea's goal line, as opposed to Chelsea looking more dangerous. And they created some really dangerous opportunities. The 2 most obvious ones are obviously the Garnacho cross-in, which led to Raya having a last-minute stretch ditch save to stop it from going 2-2 in the 92nd minute, which would have been catastrophic. And then again in the 94th, 95th minute, Chelsea get a goal which is obviously clearly offside, but again, they're creating panic and we're on the back foot and we're inviting that pressure. Tosin flicks it on, Pedro comes through, flicks it, it somehow flicks over Raya. Raya scoops it back, it falls to the lap, he puts it in the back of the net. Chelsea fans go berserk. I've got my head in my hands thinking, what have we done? We've done it again. All for it to be ruled offside. We win the game 2-1. And as I said, the result is all that matters. It really does. At the end of the day, all that matters is the result. But, and it is a big but, I don't like the performances we're putting in. I don't think these performances are sustainable. I think these performances are the reason why City are back in this title race. And I don't think we can keep playing like this between now and the end of the season, because I don't think it's the way you win things. So, like I said, maybe I'm completely wrong and maybe you all disagree with me, but I just look at that performance, both first half and second half, and I've just come away from it feeling a little bit flat and a little bit disappointed and a little bit concerned because I just don't think this team is clicking. It's great that they're finding a way to win when they're not playing well. I think that's a really good sign of champions. But I'm concerned by the fact that we're just not playing great football. And I don't even think we're putting together like 20, 30-minute periods. I think we're just finding ways to win. And I'm not sure if you can continue to do that. And I think City are going to continue to apply pressure. I don't think City are going to drop many points between now and the end of the season. I really don't. So it's up to us to make sure that we don't slip up. And I think the way we should be approaching these games is to try and be the aggressor and try and win them as opposed to holding out. You know, Chelsea had 58% possession. They had 10 corners to our 5. I just think Chelsea looked the more dangerous side throughout the entire 90 minutes. I think they had the more clear-cut chances. And given the fact that we were at home, we're the better team, and we played 20 minutes with an extra man, I don't think that should have been the story. But it is what it is. In terms of standout players, look, I was expecting Saka to do more, given that Cucurella wasn't there. I thought, he looked lively, but again, no real massive end product. I thought Eze was really quiet, which was disappointing. Trossard, Gyökeres was really quiet. Yeah, I think it was just a case of getting the job done for this one. I'm hoping the Rice coming off situation wasn't anything major. The last thing we need right now is him being out for a couple of weeks. So hopefully that was just more a case of resting him and being precautionary, but he definitely looked to be hobbling a little bit when he came off, but he was out walking around the pitch at the end of the match, which is usually a good sign that it's nothing significant. So, as I said, I watched the game at 3:30 in the morning. It's hard for me to be really kind of clear on what went on in the game in details. My takeaway is all that matters is the 3 points. We did our job. We responded to the pressure that City applied. I just want to see the performances get a bit better, and I want to see individual players step up more and I don't want every game to feel like such a grind. It feels like at the moment, bar the Tottenham result, every game is such a grind, and it would be nice to get a couple of comfy wins where you can kind of rotate players, rest a few players, and just not have that kind of nail-biting 90 minutes week in, week out. But again, maybe I'm just completely naive in the fact that when you get to the end of the season and you're in a title race, that is part of it and you just have to embrace it. So yeah, like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments. What did you think of the performance? Is the result all that matters? Is there anything that's concerning you? How are you feeling going into the next game? Let me know, people. All right, guys, I will see you on the next one. Bye.